This is Nithya Ramachandra from the NR Hour Sports Show. This is episode 985. Happy Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. Today's an interesting day because it's 2/22/22, so all twos today. We are joined by a really special guest. His name is Jonathan Orr. He's a former Wisconsin NFL wide receiver, and now he's doing big things off the field. He's helping out other athletes try to reach to their goals. I can't wait to talk more about that story. And we are live on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Spotify right now. And the fans, please tune in. This is going to be a special one. And you guys can ask questions to Jonathan on my Spreaker app. And first of all, Jonathan, I just want to say thank you for joining the show today. It's truly an honor. And like I said, I can't wait. And how are you and your family doing today?
Man, thank you so much for having me. And ever since you sent the invitation last week, I've been looking forward to this moment and getting on the show. And family's doing well. Kids are healthy. My wife is healthy, and which is a lot. That means a lot these days. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So what got you into football? What started you to get into football?
Yeah, man. I grew up in Detroit, and it wasn't too much going on in my neighborhood. A lot of crazy stuff was going on, but my brothers and I, and even my parents, they saw sports as a way to keep us out of trouble. And so just about every sport you can think of, my father put us in when we were young. And it just so happens that my brothers and I, we all just fell in love with football at a young age. And I made it up in my mind about the age of 9 years old that I wanted to play in the NFL. And that was.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's broke off for a second, but yeah. So who are tell our fans who are some of the wide receiver or players that you looked up to while growing up in the
Yep.
NFL?
Yeah, man. Growing up, hood hero. I looked up to. You remember Herman? Herman Moore.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. I looked up to. Man, there was a lot of guys back then. Barry Sanders, even though I didn't play running back. Joe Montana, Dan Marino, Deion Sanders, all of those big names from the 90s were guys that inspired me.
Wow. Yeah, so what was it like, obviously Herman Moore, Detroit legend. So what was it like being from Detroit and looking up to him? And did he give you, have you met him before? And if so, did he give you any advice?
Yeah, man. So I met him a couple times. The league football team, we got invited to attend a Detroit Lions camp.
Okay.
And so I had a chance to meet him there once, and then I met him a few years ago at a breakfast. He was a guest speaker at a men's breakfast, and had a chance to meet him and had a chance to share with him, how he was my hero and how he inspired me when I was a kid. So that was a cool moment. But no, he never gave me any advice. But it was cool meeting him a couple times.
Yeah. So, what got into tell us the process of being a receiver? What got you into being a wide receiver, and did you get to play any other positions throughout your career?
Yeah. So I was always, ever since I was a kid, I was always tall and thin, and always had decent speed, and so they just threw me at receiver naturally, and then I had good had ability to catch, which is all you can ask for as a kid, and it just kind of stuck with me. I played a little cornerback when I was a kid, and safety and things like that, and then special teams in college as well.
Wow. Yeah. So how important, speaking of being versatile, how important is it for an athlete now to help the team in every aspect of the game, like you said, special teams or defensive back or wide receiver? How important is that for you, especially for you during your career and now for an athlete now?
It's extremely important. It not only helps the team, but it helps you, right? If the higher up you go, right, from little league to high school to college, is more competitive, and so the more you can do, the more versatile you are as a player, then the better off it's going to be for you as far as getting playing time. But ultimately, it helps the team if you're able to contribute in those different capacities.
Yeah, so we are live with former Wisconsin and NFL wide receiver Jonathan Orr. We already have a fan question. Someone wants to know, what was your hype music throughout your career?
Oh man, when I was in high school, I used to listen to a lot of Tupac, I
Oh,
used to listen to Biggie.
yeah.
I used to listen to the guys from down south, the different rappers in college. Who did I used to listen? I used to like Eminem in college. You know,
Right.
being from Detroit. I used to like it's a couple gospel artists that I really like too. A guy by the name of Lecrae and The Truth. So yeah, I would say it's pretty eclectic. My taste in hype music.
Nice. We'll get to Eminem later as he performed in this year's Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But for you though, tell our fans about your high school career that maybe got you ready for college, and what was the main thing that you learned, especially senior year, a really important year when all the scholarships come in, and what did you learn senior year as a high school player?
Yeah, man. So I was blessed, man. And I went to a high school that had a good tradition. We're constantly sending guys to college just about every year. And to give you an idea, my sophomore year, I played varsity, and we had the number one um, receiver in the state, and so it was always colleges there scouting him out, and so I had a little playing time, so that helped. And then my junior year, we had the number one tight end in the country,
Hmm.
and then the number one quarterback in the state. And so you can imagine every day it's recruits up there at the school. So it was good for us younger guys because it gave us an opportunity to get exposure. And this is before YouTube and
Yeah.
before social media and all of that. So the fact that those scouts were up there and able to get an eye on us often, it definitely helped me. So by the time my senior year came, I think I might have had about 10 offers from around the country, most in the Midwest, Big Ten, MAC schools. I think Georgia Tech was one of the few offers I had from outside of the Big Ten. But yeah, man, it was definitely a memorable experience. I had by the time I finished my senior season, I narrowed my schools down to my top 5, and then set my visits up in that order. And it just so happens Wisconsin was number 1 on my list. And
Hmm.
so after I took a visit there, I just canceled the rest of my visits. I knew that was a place for me.
Yeah. So speaking of your recruitment process, tell our fans about that. And other than Wisconsin, who were the other 4 offers, and what did you like about Wisconsin?
Yeah, man. So the other 4 offers, my top 5, it was Michigan State, Ohio State, uh, Iowa, and Minnesota. So those were the ones that I had it narrowed down to, that I had offers from, and it was just a great experience, man. The thing that set Wisconsin apart for me, one was just the integrity of the program. So Barry Alvarez, who just retired as AD back then, he was the head coach of the football. He was just a man of integrity. He told the truth. You know, when you're going through that recruiting process, a lot of coaches tell you what they think you want to hear,
Yeah.
and so telling you, you're gonna come in, man, you're gonna start right away. But I remember he and my position coach, who was actually the coach that recruited me, telling me like, man, we don't think you play your first year. We want to develop you. We want to get you stronger and bigger. And so I really respected that. And then it's just a beautiful campus. It's a great university, one of the top universities in the country. Man, it was just a great fit for me. And then even though I didn't play, even though I redshirted, I knew I would have an opportunity to play early.
Hmm. Yeah. So we have another fan question. They want to know what was it like going against some of these defensive backs throughout your career, and because you're a tall receiver throughout your
Mhm.
career, so they want to know what advantages did you get from that kind of going against other defensive backs.
Yeah, I think the natural advantage is on the deep ball, which I caught a lot of deep balls. That was sort of my thing, a lot of fades and even posts, just by being taller than most of them, and in a lot of cases 5, 6 inches taller than a lot of them. It was just easier to just jump up and catch it over them. The Big Ten DBs were physical, which was something that I wasn't prepared for right away. Used to that, even though they might have not have been the biggest, they were strong and didn't mind, making contact. And so learning to get off the press and things like that, and having to block those big guys and block linebackers. Wisconsin is a running school, and so receivers are expected to block. And so that was definitely a wake up call. But yeah, it was physical, but definitely competitive, and enjoyed that experience as well.
Yeah, I know you looked up to Herman more, but there was another Detroit legend receiver. He's tall too, Megatron. So
Yep. Yep.
did you ever try to like see his game a little bit too?
No, so I was out of the NFL by the time
Yeah.
Megatron, or maybe we had 1 year overlap, but he's a guy that I loved watching. Just a competitor, just not only big but had good speed and could put it all together. Sometimes you might have a guy who's big but doesn't have good speed or not that strong, but he was like the total package, which is why he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. So
Yeah, we tell our fans, where did you get your speed from?
my speed, part of it was just natural. I come from on my dad's side, man. Just a legacy of just athletes. Like I have I believe a great uncle who on the relay team back in the Olympics with Jesse Owens.
Oh wow!
And, my grandfather, he was a top draft pick in the Negro leagues back in the day, and so it's yeah, part of it is just in just nature, and then of course as hard as I knew to, I ran track in high school and to maximize the potential that I had.
Wow, Jesse Owens is the GOAT.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what was it like playing in Wisconsin? And they have the best fan base, in my opinion, in college football, and they're a great college football program, and even basketball. Both sports always compete. So, for you, when you were there, what was it like competing in front of those fans and then competing against top level competition?
Man, it was man, one of the best times in my life. It's one thing to be able just to have the opportunity to play college football, but then to do it in the Big Ten, and then to be able to do it at a school like Wisconsin, which you're right, man, it's oftentimes voted by Sports Illustrated and some of the other folks and magazines out there as the top college sports town in the country. And so it's a reason for that. The fans are incredible. They show up, they're supportive, they're loud, it's crazy. We had to jump around. You just see a sea of red. More alcohol is sold at the Wisconsin Student Union than any other venue in the country. And so a lot of time, that alcohol is sold before the game. And so you can imagine the just the level of intensity that the fans have during the game. So it definitely makes for a special place.
They know how to party for sure.
Yeah. Have you ever been?
Never been there yet, but
Okay.
So I can compare that to Rutgers. I live near Rutgers. Rutgers know how to party too. So
yeah.
I go to Rutgers a lot with some friends to party down there when the Rutgers football season is going. And Rutgers and Wisconsin, they know how to party. These people.
Yeah. Definitely.
But I got to take a trip to Wisconsin one day.
You have to. Yeah.
And then if you're there, man, we got to connect too in person.
We do, man. I got to show you around, take you to some of the restaurants, some of the bars, man.
Yeah.
You would love it.
Yeah. So speaking of the 2002 season, you guys lost Lee Evans to the season with the ACL, but this is where you had the chance to step up, and you did step up. You had over 8 touchdown receptions, over 842 yards receiving. So, I know it's always tough to see a teammate go down, but what would you say about how grateful are you to have this opportunity to step up for a teammate and help them win games?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. That's never easy. It happened during the spring game, and I remember that day distinctly. And Lee Evans at that time, he was All-American. He could have left the year before. He would have been a first-round draft pick, but he decided to come back for his senior year, and then he suffered that injury. And so it was heartbreaking to the team. But I remember our coach Mason, our receiver coach, right after that spring game, he said it's going to be an opportunity. We need you young guys to step up. And so I had already been working hard, but just continued to work hard over the summer and in fall camp, and ended up being able to take advantage of that opportunity and sort of fill those shoes as best I could in Lee's absence.
We have another fan question. They want to know whenever you guys win a game, whenever you won a game on Saturday nights or whatever when you played for Wisconsin, what do you guys do? What was the after party? Our fans want to know, what did you guys do for the after party after the wins?
Man, so for me, it's sort of two phases, right? So one, when I was young, like my first year or two there, we would go out, man. It's a bar called the KK. It was always a party going on, a fraternity parties, and we would just go out. Some of my teammates would throw parties often. If my family was in town, I would go out to eat with my parents and my brothers. And then about halfway through college, some teammates and I started a Bible study on campus, man. And so, and we used to throw this event called the Alternative. And so Saturday nights used to start at 10 o'clock. And we used to just fellowship and have Bible study, and just people from around campus would come, and it ended up turning into this big old, this cool thing for people who was, just needed a break from the party and bar scene, wanted to do something different. So,
yeah. So speaking of Lee Evans, he was a great NFL receiver too, and so when he came back from injury, this is where in my opinion, your college career took off, because you stepped up the 2002 season, and you put up some great numbers to your college career. And what was it like when you guys had Lee Evans back and having that 1-2 punch? So one side you have you, the other side Lee Evans, and what did that guys mean to you when you guys had him playing and you playing again together?
Oh man, it was huge. I think preseason we were ranked the number 1 receiver corps in the country with Lee. We had a guy named Darren Charles who came in together. He did redshirt though. He's 6'7" receiver. We had another guy that was my year named Brandon Williams, who was incredible. Ended up being, all Big Ten. I wanted to say even All American. And so we just had a solid core of receivers. But what it meant was, you couldn't really double team Lee, right? Because there were other weapons, and we had a very good running back, and we always have a good running game. So it really meant that you had to be honest in the way you played us. And so it also meant that I didn't get as many balls as I did when Lee was gone, as many looks, but that's okay. It still worked out.
Wow. Yeah. So what do you say? I know I know you watch football, NFL a lot, and the Tennessee Titans have AJ Brown and Julio Jones right now. What do you say? Would you say that those two 1-2 punch compares to you and Lee Evans?
No, they're a little better. They're a little better than us. Now Lee, he's a different animal. He could hold his own with them, but I don't get me wrong. I'm confident in what I did, in my ability, but I'm not quite at that level. So I would give that 1-2 punch to them.
Yeah. So how would you how would you say that your whole career went with Wisconsin, and what was that like, just to complete your career there, and then continue to grow as a receiver and put up big numbers?
It was an incredible time. Again, just being able to not only play college football, but be able to contribute to the team, had some memorable wins, some great bowl games.
Yeah.
We did not win a Big Ten championship when I was there, but came close a couple of times. But man, this is just a special time in my life.
Yeah. So we have another fan question. I love all these fans coming in and asking questions, and they want to know again, what was the battles against Penn State?
Oh man, the battles against Penn State were sick. Particularly, I'll tell you about this one. My senior year, we both were undefeated. I think we both 7-0. I want to say 7-0, 8-0, something like that. And we had to go to Happy Valley to play Penn State. And this is when they first started to do the whiteout, where everybody in the stadium were. And they ended up, it was a close game, but they ended up getting the best of us that day. And if I remember, the game was closer than the score indicated. But Penn State, I know Michigan is the big house in Ann Arbor, but Penn State is definitely more rowdy, and it's harder to play at Penn State than it is at Michigan. But the hardest place to play is actually, it doesn't compare in size, but just Iowa is definitely the hardest place to play in the Big Ten.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, now we got to say, put some respect on Wisconsin. There you go.
You got to. Yeah.
So for you, obviously, you got drafted in 2006, round 6, pick 172. Take us to that moment. But before that, I want to tell us about some of your best moments and funny moments in Wisconsin.
Wow, best and funny. As far as football goes,
Yeah.
oh man, some of the best moments I remember scoring my first touchdown. We were playing against UNLV. This was my second game of my redshirt freshman year, and just to score my first touchdown. It was a night game. That was huge. I remember scoring a big touchdown against Ohio State. My redshirt freshman year, and then I remember at halftime at Times Square. They showed the big Times Square, and then they had my touchdown just on repeat, and so that was cool just to see that there, and just making some big plays and some big moments, and then even some of the big plays my teammates made. I remember beating Ohio State, Lee Evans. They were the #1 team in the country, and we upset them. Lee Evans in the last few seconds of the game. So just being a part of that game, yeah.
And so, what was your funniest moment with your teammates or something?
Funniest moment. So during camp, Coach Alvey, he would always bring in some special entertainment, a special guest. It'd just be the most random things you could imagine. So this one particular year, he brought in a hypnotist. Is that what it's called?
Hypnotist? Yeah.
Yeah. And so he brought in this guy, man, and I remember some of my teammates actually got eyes, and it was hilarious. So I think that's one of the funniest moments.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hypnotist. Yeah. So now tell us about your draft experience. You got drafted in 06, round 6, pick 172 by the Tennessee Titans. What was it like spending time there with your family, waiting for your name to be called? And once your name got called, how relieved were you and your family?
Yeah, man, it was an intense situation. And prior to the draft, it's all kind of projections of who's getting drafted where, and I was all over the place. It was low. It was undrafted is what I was hearing all the way to second round. And so I had absolutely no idea where I was going to go or if I was going to get drafted. So to finally hear my name called by the Tennessee Titans, it was a dream come true. And to be able to share that moment with my parents, with my close friends and family, it was memorable. It was awesome.
Yeah. So what was the call like with the Tennessee Titans? What was the draft call like for you?
Yeah, man, I think I got a call from Jeff Fisher, the head coach at the time. Right before he called, I got a call from the Atlanta Falcons, and Atlanta said, "Hey, and we got a pick in like 4 picks, and we're going to get you." And he said, "How would you like to be an Atlanta Falcon?" I'm like, "Man, I'd love to." And then before their pick, the Tennessee Titans, they might have had they were 2 picks away or something like that. Wow. And they ended up calling, and Jeff Fisher, talked about Nashville and how would I like to come down to Nashville and make that my new home. And I didn't care where I went. I was just happy to get drafted.
Speaking of that, did Atlanta say anything after that, or did they just? No,
I never heard anything else from. I guess once they saw the pick, then they called somebody else. I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm just curious. Tell our fans sometimes it could be crazy during the draft, but some of these teams when they call players and whoever they say that would you like to be with us or whatever, but for some reason, how come they should change it up a little bit, or do the team? How should I say this? They call the players and say they want to come to or would you like to come to the team, but a different team drafts them. Like what kind of?
Well, I think part of it is by the first round goes very slow, right? Yeah. I think even the second round, the third round, but once you get to and that back then, this is when it was only 2 days. Once you got to that second day, it's going so fast, right? Like you don't have 10 minutes to decide what you're going to do. And so it's going so fast. And so, you know, if when Atlanta called, they might have had 10 minutes before they were going to make that pick.
Yeah.
And it just so happened Tennessee, who knows what happened in Tennessee situation, but they called right after Atlanta. And then so they, got me first. And then Atlanta picked probably the next person on their draft board.
That's interesting. Yeah. So before we get to the teammates you played with in Tennessee, I want to ask you about Coach Jeff Fisher, man. This guy's a great head coach, in my opinion. And what was it like learning from him?
It was great, man. He was the definition of a player's coach. Just guys respected him. He did not micromanage, although, and I think because he was used to coaching older teams, but at that time we had a younger team, and so we probably could have used a little more micromanaging. But he expected guys to be professional. He had your back, which is, he was pretty fair, and that's all you can really ask for the coach.
Yeah, so when you come in as a rookie, and when you see players like Vince Young, Travis Henry, Drew Bennett, Brandon Jones, Bo Scaffield, you can go down the defensive side, man. We had your former teammate on the show, Albert Hainsworth was on the show too.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was an honor, and you got to play with Keith Bullock, Adam Jones, man. That defense was crazy. So for you as a rookie, what was it like seeing those players I just mentioned?
It was awesome, man. Like, and a lot of those guys have been around a while, so they were David Thornton. We had David Thornton. They were professional. They really showed the younger guys how to well, most of them did try to show the younger guys how to carry yourself as a professional. They were it was fun, man. You're right, that defense was amazing. I remember Drew Bennett. I think this might have been like his 6th or 7th year in the NFL by the time I showed up, and he was the leader of our receiving corps, and just learned a lot from him. It was definitely a cool experience.
And also getting to wear the same uniform as the late Steve McNair. What did that mean to you? And obviously, just devastating about Steve McNair. One of the best quarterbacks I ever seen. So what was it like mean to you wearing the same uniform as him?
It was cool, man. I had just missed Steve McNair, so I think right before the draft is when that whole situation happened with them locking him out, and then he ended up getting traded to Buffalo. But he was still a pillar in the Nashville community, so I still had a chance to meet him. He would still have events there. He was still around the guys and things like that, and so. So it was definitely special, man. I think he really put, I think that 99-2000 season, he really put the Tennessee Titans on the map with that Super Bowl run, and he'll always be a legend.
Yeah, he led the way for Vince Young to come in too.
Sure did.
Yeah. So for you, what was it like playing with Vince Young, and obviously a great quarterback too, coming from Texas? I connected with him on Instagram, so sometimes we go back and forth messaging. So for you, what was it like being his teammate on the field, off the field, and what did you learn from him during camp?
Man, so you let me take you back. All right. Yeah. So I'm watching the national championship game. So our bowl game was over. This is 2006.
Yeah.
Right. The 2005 season, we had our bowl game, and now I'm watching the national championship game, USC versus Texas. And I'm watching Vince Young put on a freaking show, right? And I remember thinking as I'm watching this, like, man, to be able to play with a quarterback like that,
that'd be crazy.
That would be amazing. And then, lo and behold, a few months later, we're on the same team. And so I was excited. The stuff that you would see him do in a game, like he did it in practice like it's nothing. Like, it's amazing to me how some guys just have that it factor, man. And so he was a good teammate. He was a gifted athlete. Didn't mind working hard. So yeah, that Vince is a special guy.
Wow. And that, did you ever bring that up to him, that story about college?
Did I? I don't remember. Yeah.
Was that the game? It was. No, correct me if I'm wrong. Was that the game? Was the final score was 41-38? No, right?
I don't remember the final score. I just know Vince, he ran that last touchdown in.
Oh, I think that's the one. USC. Yeah.
Yep.
That's the one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's the one he posted recently on Instagram. Yep, 41-38.
Okay.
That's the game.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
And for you, obviously, tell our fans how tough was it for you that you couldn't play any games for Tennessee. But what did you learn? But what did you get out of camp that made what was the camp experience like, and how tough was it for you that you didn't play any games?
It was tough, man. So going in the East-West Shrine game, the All-Star game before the draft, I suffered an injury. Then I suffered some injuries separated my shoulder during mini camps in the summer. And so man, it was just a lot of injuries, man, that I was battling. And so I had showed enough to make the team. That after my rookie year to make the 53-man roster, and each week, I was and we were loaded at receivers. We had some top draft picks that have been there years prior, and we just had some new guys in. David, I can't think of his last name right now, but he had just won a Super Bowl with the Patriots, and now David Givens, and he was on the Titans, and so it was just a lot of older guys and a lot of talent, and so but I was prepared, man. At any moment, if they were, ready to put me in, I was prepared. So, but it's rough, as a athlete, you want to compete, you want to play, and so it was definitely rough, not playing.
If in my opinion, this is all I can say is if you didn't have that injuries, I think you would have had a great NFL career, in my opinion.
Man, I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, because you had a great Wisconsin career, and a lot of teams love tall receivers, and you would have been a perfect fit for Tennessee. And man, but what did Jeff Fisher tell you when they released you?
Yeah, so what did he say? I don't really remember, man. I don't really remember what he said. I just know how I felt, right? Like that's a tough situation. It was the last line of cuts, and it's so quiet in the locker room on these particular days when the NFL are making the final cuts. I just remember, the team, somebody came to get me and said Coach Fisher wanted to speak to me, and you already know what it's about. And he probably said something like, thank you for your time here, and it's been a pleasure coaching you, but we have to let you go. Something like that. But yeah, I just remember being heartbroken, man, because I had never experienced anything like that. So to get cut was rough. It was rough.
Yeah, and eventually the Raiders picked you up, and what was that like? And the experience with the Raiders at camp?
Yeah, so what people don't realize, man, the crazy thing about the NFL and sports in general is, man, it's hard you have a select few guys who are able to sort of dictate where they want to go and how long they're going to be a place. But for the majority of the folks, man, you're at the whim of stuff that's out of your control. And so, the Titans let me go within a week. I had multiple tryouts, right? I remember going first. I think I was in I went to Oakland. Yep, I went to Oakland. This one there, the Oakland Raiders, tried out there, and then I had to get on a plane from Oakland and fly out to Carolina, the Carolina Panthers. And I caught a red eye from Oakland to Carolina. I had like 2 hours of sleep. Wow. And then I had to get up and go do a workout for Carolina, run a 40-yard dash after this long flight. And so all of that is just part of the story that's oftentimes untold. But to get that, after I finished my workout with Carolina, I think the Raiders called the next day and said, we want to sign you to the practice squad. And so within a few days, now I'm living in Oakland. And so it's crazy. But, to be able to be a part of that team with such a story, right? The history behind it and this legacy, that was cool to be able see to be that for the short time I was there.
Yeah, now it's called the Las Vegas Raiders. Which
Yep,
is
yep.
so one of our fans just said that your story is really inspiring. It's amazing, and it's they said that it's a great day to what a great day to start listening to this, and also they said that your story should be on ESPN 30 for 30.
You know what? It's not too different than most guys, though, right? In the NFL, I mean, the average career in the NFL, I think it's 3.5 years, and so I appreciate that. But my story is really not too much different than most of the guys that play. I mean, you have the Tom Brady's who that's few, right? Guys who play 20 years or even 10 years, and so the majority of the stories are similar to mine.
Yeah. So obviously after your career, now you're helping out these other athletes, and tell our fans about that. What's that been like for you, sharing your story, your experiences in camp and going through Wisconsin and the injuries? What's that been like for you, helping other athletes that can relate to your story?
Yeah, man. So once I finished in the NFL, and again, I was planning a much longer career. All of a sudden, this thing that had been such a huge part of my life for so long was now over, just like that in the blink of an eye. And for about 2 years, I really struggled. Like I wasn't diagnosed, but I'm pretty sure I was depressed. Just knowing what we know now about mental health. I didn't have like millions and millions of dollars. I still should have been financially smarter with the money that I did make. And within 2 years, I was broke. My marriage was struggling. It was a hard time. So by the grace of God and just a great support system, I was able to start moving forward and realizing that I had an idea outside of being football and a greater purpose in life. And then I started noticing that so many of my former teammates were struggling, similar to how I was struggling. And the idea came. I ended up going to grad school, and then during grad school, the idea came to start an organization that would help athletes to prepare for and manage their transition after sports. And so in January of 2014, I officially started Athlete Transition Services Corporation. And we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization that we exist to help athletes to prepare for life after sports. And we provide all sorts of programming, educational workshops, financial literacy, holistic identity, health and wellness. We do health service for athletes. We provide professional development and career services for athletes. And so yeah, man, it's one of those things where, sometimes life gives you lemons and you make lemonade out of it. And so it's been so rewarding and so fulfilling to be able to help athletes avoid some of the pitfalls that I made and so many other athletes made.
Yeah. So, what did you guys do during when the pandemic started? How tough was that when the COVID situation started, and you guys had to maybe adapt in a different way, connected with these athletes, or how did you guys do more Zoom meetings, or how did that work for you with the program?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly that. So we had already been planning, but not till about a year and a half after a year and a half from when COVID started, we were planning to start doing more virtual programming, but COVID just forced that timeline up. And so we were able to shift most of our programming and workshops and educational seminars and things like that to a virtual format. Wow. And it was helpful, man. We were still able to have an impact and reach a lot of athletes during that time. And now, now that we're sort of transitioning to the way things were, have both going on. So we still do a lot of virtual programming as well as back to a lot of the in-person stuff.
Yeah, and tell our fans, I'm just curious, do you train these athletes too, or also like on the field? Do you guys give them like one-on-one training or group training too when it comes to what do you call working out or getting ready for a season?
No. So we don't do any athletic training.
Yeah.
We just do more personal life development, life coaching type of program.
Okay. Would you consider that down the line, or you just want to keep it the same?
No, I keep it the same. I mean, my son plays football. I coach his. Yeah, he's 8, and so that's about all of the patience I have coaching 8-year-olds. But no, it's never been a desire of mine to really get into coaching or training.
Okay.
You know, I know a lot of guys who do, and they do a fantastic job, but it's just never really been my thing.
What's the scouting report on your son?
My son, he shows flashes of brilliance, right? Like he has moments where it's like, this kid is something unique on the field. And then the other times he's not paying attention. He's all over the place. And so but I mean, he's strong, man. He's big for his age. He has good hand-eye coordination. He's very intelligent. He wants to be I think it's called a aerospace engineer. So we're taking him down to NASA this summer. Yep. Nice. So visit NASA, like that's his thing. And so yeah, he's if he chooses to pursue a journey in athletics, I have no doubt that he'll be successful in it. But if he chooses not to, you know, he'll be fine.
We'll see him, but before you know it, we'll see him flying in the Blue Origin.
We might. Yep.
I mean, I'm sure he's been watching the stuff that's been launching lately. Has he been watching that stuff?
He has.
Yeah.
Going on, son. But yeah, he stays abreast on all of that. So
yeah. So we have another fan question. So they want to know which receiver do you like to watch now in the league?
Man, I love watching Cooper for the Cowboys.
Yes, I'm a Cowboy fan.
He's still with the Cowboys, right? They haven't traded him.
Yeah, they might trade him though this offseason, depending on the cap situation. And
okay,
I don't want to see him go because he's been helping us out a lot. But I think when it comes to choices, and they might have to make that tough choice and trade him.
Okay, yeah, man, I love watching Cooper. He's just consistent, just works hard. He reminds me of like a Jerry Rice, not off, flashy and everything. He just consistently gets it done, man. I like Odell. I like the excitement he brings to the game. Yeah. Those are probably my two favorites to watch.
Yeah, speaking of Odell, man, he did well deserved on winning that ring. He deserves it.
Yeah, absolutely.
After what he's been through with New York Giants, Cleveland Browns, now going and chasing people think that he's chasing a ring. He's not. He's working his ass off, and he's going. Yeah. And he got his opportunity to go with the great franchise. I don't see it as ring chasing. I see it as an opportunity for a player that's been through a lot.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. And the teams, right, are bringing him in. Like the Rams brought him in to help them win a Super Bowl. The same reason they brought Matthew Stafford in. And so I was so glad to see him. I was sad that he got hurt, but he still contributed. He still got the first touchdown of the game, and I was happy to see him get a ring as well.
Yeah, but not only before we get to that, I want to ask you about motivational speaking, because not only you help out athletes, you do some motivational speaking. You go to events or you speak at churches. So what's that been like for you being a motivational speaker too?
Man, it's been fun. I enjoy it. It's one of those things, like we all have certain gifts and talents and things that we're supposed to share with the world, I believe. And ever since I was young, I've just always enjoyed speaking. And if I feel like I have something to share that can help somebody, that can hopefully add value to the world, then I don't mind sharing it. And so it's something that it's not work. So it's something I just enjoy doing. I love it. So.
Yeah. So as a former NFL player and a college player, what was your overall thoughts on this NFL season? And I'm already missing football, man. This Sunday was weird not having football, but what's your overall thoughts during the season and the playoffs and Super Bowl?
Man, believe it or not, I don't watch a whole lot of football. I started watching playoffs. I'll catch a game here and there if there's some guys playing that I really want to see play, but so I can't even speak too in-depthly about the season. The playoffs were exciting. I thought it was cool to see some different teams in the Super Bowl this year, like for Cincinnati to go. Yeah. And I tell you one thing, it gives the Lions hope You know,
Yeah.
that if Cincinnati could turn it around from not being a team to not win a playoff game the longest to actually being in the Super Bowl and almost winning it, man. Hopefully that gives the Lions here in Detroit some confidence that they can turn it around too. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, speaking of Detroit, you're a Detroit kid, and much respect to the Lions for still giving love to Matthew Stafford after he
Mhm.
left, and they're still giving him love. And most of these team fans do not. They usually burn down the jerseys or say bad things about their former players, but there's much respect to them because Matthew Stafford gave a lot to the city of Detroit. So, for you being a Detroit kid, what's it like? What was it like seeing him, Matthew Stafford, winning a Super Bowl ring? And your guy Eminem performing in the halftime show.
Man, it was special, man. I mean, Detroit is I mean, it's diehard fans in Detroit. Detroit is gritty. Detroit is tough. It like Matthew Stafford and,
Yeah,
and the impact that Detroit that Matthew Stafford had, not only as a football player, but just as a human being in the city. He was constantly doing things for the youth in the city, constantly being involved in different nonprofit organizations. He and his wife, and it was the everybody I know was rooting for Matthew Stafford to win it. It was no bad blood. I think people understood that he gave Detroit 12, 13 good years. And
yeah,
so I just wish the same thing could have happened for Megatron and Barry Sanders back in the day too. I wish they would have let those
yeah.
guys go and compete, for land in a better situation so they had an opportunity to win a Super Bowl too. So and then seeing Eminem, man, that was awesome. That was a surprise. I didn't know he was going to be part of the halftime show, but yeah, Detroit was represented well. So
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, this me and my friends said this was the best halftime show by far, bringing in the old school rappers back together. Eminem, 50 Cent, Dr. Dre, Mary J. Blige, she still got it. And
mhm.
Kendrick Lamar, my favorite rapper of all time, in my opinion, he's gonna go down as a goat. But this having all of them coming together, and then Snoop Dogg, obviously, it just flowed. It just flowed. They did a great job.
No, man, I agree with you, man. It was one of my it's definitely one of the top ones. I still remember being a kid though. For me, the number one halftime show was probably Michael Jackson back in '93.
Wow.
I was like 10 years old, and I just remember that. But this is up there though. This is close. This is awesome.
Yeah. So speaking of Detroit, were you a Piston fan growing up?
I was, man.
Nice.
Growing up, yep, I was back in the bad boy days,
Yeah.
89, 90. I was 7, 8 years old. But I vividly remember those championships and Isaiah and celebrating and all of that. So, and then when I got a little older, we had Grant Hill back in the day.
Yeah.
He came to Detroit in '94 and was here for a few years. And then once I kind of went to college, I kind of stopped championship back in '04 with Chauncey Billups and Rip Hamilton and those guys. And so Detroit has a good basketball legacy here.
Yeah, you're gonna like this. I got to interview Isaiah Thomas on the show.
Get out of here.
Yeah, 2 years ago. I'll send it to you. 2 years ago, on my 20. Oh, actually, no. He came on my 25th birthday, so that was like last year. So yeah, 2 years
Wow.
ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. So yeah, so
Wow.
he came on my 25th birthday, and his daughter helped me out set up the interview, and it was an honor talking to him. I learned a lot from that, and he told me everything about his Detroit history and the playoffs and battling and winning a championship. It was. I'll send it to you so you can listen.
Man, yeah, I definitely have to check that out.
Yeah, and I didn't expect that to happen, but it did happen. So, but so I want to ask you, what's it been like now, sharing your stories, experiences on different platforms like this podcast? I'm sure you've been on other podcasts before, and what's it been like just sharing your stories on these podcasts and shows?
Man, it's been I enjoy it. It's always fun to go down memory lane and to reminisce and even the opportunity to share sort of what I'm into after football. Get the word out about our company, Athlete Transition
Yeah,
Services, and the work we're doing. Yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot.
So speaking of that, the thing you work, the company you work with, what are you guys most looking forward to from now and in the future with these athletes?
I think so. The goal and the sort of the vision has always been to provide services from athletes all the way from retired athletes, professional athletes, all the way to youth athletes, right? And so we're looking forward to, and right now we currently provide services for retired, professional, college, and high school. And so I'm looking forward to adding some youth programming here in the next couple of years, because a lot of the personal growth and development of athletes, we don't have to wait until you retire, right? Like we can start helping kids at a young age to develop holistically. So
If you guys need any help, we're willing to help you guys. We can promote your stuff. You can share it on our stories. My team is really good at that, sharing people's stuff. And if let me know in LinkedIn or wherever, if you any day you guys have something, let us know. We can promote it for you.
man, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so we have a couple more fan questions that just came in.
Yep.
One of them wants to know who was the toughest defensive back that you had to face in college, and then the other one is actually the other one is who's the best of they want to know who's the best defensive back. I don't know, best defensive back right now in the NFL.
So the best defensive back I played in college, it was two. One was actually three. One was my teammate actually, so I got to go up against him every day in practice. Guy by the name of Scott Starks. He was went on to play for the Jacksonville Jaguars for a number of years, but he was phenomenal. Guy by the name of Chris Gamble.
Yeah.
He played at Ohio State, first round draft pick. And then there was another guy, Javon. What is Javon's last name? He went on to play, I think, in the NFL for a little bit, but had a very long career in the CFL. I think he just retired a couple of years ago. I just can't think of his last name right now, but those were the best. And the best defensive back in the league right now, I think Jalen. I think you got to go with Jalen. Yeah, even though he didn't have the best Super Bowl, but all in all, I think he's most solid.
And we'll take one more fan question. Another one wants to know your nickname throughout your career.
Initials. Yeah, people just used to call me J.O. since I was young, and it just, I always laugh. Football players, we're not too creative when it comes to nicknames. Yes. And it's just you take your initial, or it stuck with me.
Or you got to let your teammates pick for you.
Right. Yep.
But the last two things here before we let you go, and our team is part of this foundation. It's called the Hugh Jackson Foundation. He's a former NFL coach. He's now the coach for Grambling State University, HBCU school, and we're trying to help him prevent human trafficking, making sure the community stays safe and the kids stay safe. So we'll send you the foundation so you can go check it out.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and that's awesome. You guys are partnering.
Oh yeah, we've been their partners for like at least 2 years now. When I started the show, it's just horrible what we're seeing with human trafficking. Yeah. You got to change it. And the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the nurses, doctors, and all the essential workers right now?
I would, man. Thank you so much for one, choosing the career that you chose, and especially the last couple of years, putting yourself, your families at risk, sacrificing your well-being for the safety and well-being of others. It's phenomenal. Oftentimes we look at sports figures and even me, I'm guilty of this, and we say they're heroes. They're playing a game, right? Like, yeah. I was playing a game, and it's nice to be able to inspire people, but our frontline workers, our military men and women, they're the true heroes. And thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah. So before we close this out, would you like to plug anything to our fans where they can find you and your program, the Athlete Transition Services Corp?
Yes. So our website is ATS Corp. So atscorp.org. And you got a lot of information about our 501c3 there. You can donate if you'd like. And then you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at jor.ats, I believe. Hold on, let me double check real quick. I got it right here. So because I changed it not too long ago. I'm sorry. It is I am _ Jonathan Orr. I am _ Jonathan Orr. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at I am _ Jonathan Orr. And that's JONATHANORR. Thank you.
Put some respect on that name. There you
Put
go.
some respect on it.
So there it is. That wraps up episode 985 with former Wisconsin NFL wide receiver Jonathan Orr. Man, what a treat for to have this show today. And now he's doing big things off the field. He helps out other athletes, young athletes, try to get to their goals. It's called Athlete Transition Services Corp. Go check that out. Go follow him on all social media formats. And thank you to our fans for joining in today and asking great questions for Jonathan. And man, I'm telling you, your story is such an inspiration. Keep up the great work. We would love to have you back on the show down the line so you can meet the full team. And like I said, we got to connect when I'm in Wisconsin so you can hang out.
We will, man. We have to.
Yeah.
All right.
But thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no
Take
problem.
care. Yeah.